Yo, welcome to Q&A number 1. This video is sponsored by DistroKid. If you're not familiar with DistroKid, they're an online music distribution service that you can use to get your music onto all the big stores. For pretty cheap too. It's a really cool service. I got a little bit more to say about them in a bit. For now, let's get to the questions. I did that little Q&A thing, or the ask me something blurb on Instagram, and I saved some of the best questions, and we're gonna go through them now. First question from Loque Tolos Nombres. That's kind of a long one. Music writing hero. That's an easy one. John Mayer. Christian Martinez says, how long have you been playing guitar? Also, what other instruments do you play? I've been playing guitar for 14 or 15 years, and I play a couple other instruments. I'm a half-decent piano player, and I can kind of find my way around anything that's like a guitar. So a mandolin, a ukulele, a banjo, a bass guitar. Those are all things that I can play reasonably well, but mostly because the guitar kind of transfers to them really easily. Fretted string instruments. Jack Kelshaw says, do you use any other electric guitars apart from your SG? No. This is the only guitar that I have. It's the only guitar I want to have. Kind of a one guitar guy. This thing pretty much covers all my bases and does everything I need. In the future, I have a really good friend who's a guitar builder, and we're working together on designing a fretless baritone electric guitar. So sometime in the future, I'm going to be jamming on a fretless baritone, and then I'll have two guitars. That one and this one. But until that day, this SG is all that I need. Mihir Skothari asks, how soon do you plan to release an album? I just did. I just released an album that you can go listen to right now on all of the streaming services. The album is called If I'm Gonna See You. It's under my full name, Sean Angus Watson, and it's a collection of one-take loop jams. I'll put some links to it below. You could also just go search for it, for my name and If I'm Gonna See You on your favorite streaming service. Go listen to this album. I used DistroKid to distribute it. It was really easy and really cheap. It only costs $20 a year, and DistroKid lets you upload an unlimited amount of music. All the singles, all the full albums that you want to. Not only that, but I've got a cool link that you can use to get a discount on your first year. So you can pay less than $20 for your first year of DistroKid if you use the link in the description. If you're an artist and you want to share your music with as wide an audience as possible, you're going to need to look into putting it on streaming services beyond the free ones like YouTube and SoundCloud, you know? That's kind of what I did up until this point. I just had a song or two on SoundCloud and I put a bunch of originals on YouTube. It was time to take the next step, and DistroKid is a great way to do that. I highly recommend you check it out. Like I said, it's really cheap, it's also really easy. All you do is upload your album once to DistroKid, and then they distribute it to all of the stores. So, check out DistroKid, check out the links below. Also, go check out my album, If I'm Gonna See You. Martin Severi says, what do you use to capture your videos? Camera as well as tripod. Alright. On my phone, so I can show you my camera setup. This is the camera that I use. It's a Sony A7S, and this is a Canon 24-105 zoom lens, and I've got it locked down on a Manfrotto tripod. I've got a ball head right here. Yeah, this is pretty much the setup that I use. I got a little video mic for when I'm doing talking stuff. I've been using this lens lately at 24 millimeters, but a bunch of my videos were shot with this Rokinon lens. Actually, it's just right over here. This guy is a Rokinon 85mm cine lens, and all the videos that I shoot that have shallow depth of field that look all pretty are on that lens. It's only lately that I've been doing more wide-angle stuff on Instagram that I've been using this guy. But yeah, that's my setup. Ben the String asks, things to remember when purchasing my first electric guitar. That's a great question. Here's my advice. The most important thing is that it should feel good in your hands. Never buy a guitar that you don't resonate with. You probably shouldn't buy one on the internet. I mean, you could, but in my opinion, it's a much safer bet if you go to a music store and try a whole bunch of different guitars, and you go home with the one that makes you feel the best, that you connected with and resonated with the most. That's my advice. Ethan Schroet asks, how important is music theory to you and your playing? Very. Music theory is extremely important to me. I consider a huge part about how I have gotten to where I am as a musician. Learning music theory can only add. It can only add to your playing and make you a better musician. There's nothing else that can happen from learning a little bit of music theory. Evan Stewart asks, something you do every day on guitar for practice? Lately I've been playing with a metronome. Believe it or not, I have terrible timing. I have relatively terrible timing. And you know why? It's because I'm usually, I'm a bedroom guitar player. I'm usually playing alone or with myself with a looper, where I'm not interacting with like an external source of rhythm, like a drummer or a click track or something, or even just a bass player or another musician. When you're playing by yourself, it's really easy to be out of time and still sound good. But when you play with a metronome, you start to see, wow, okay, I'm struggling. I'm struggling playing in time. So that's what I've been doing. I try to play with a metronome every single day, 5 minutes or so of sort of rhythmic exercises with my right hand to try to get my, my internal rhythm a little bit better. If you don't practice with the metronome, I would highly recommend you do. Christy Fofuka says, how did you develop your picking with a pick? I'm trying to get better, but no results. So, I don't actually play with a pick at all. I used to, but for a couple years now, I have exclusively played fingerstyle guitar, and I'm pretty committed to it now. I don't really want to use a pick, but I did used to play with a pick a lot, and I remember really focusing on the right hand is what helps you grow. And I know that might be kind of self-explanatory, but think about it like this. You want to practice something that your left hand can do easily, with like in your sleep. So you're not thinking about your left hand and you don't have to look at it. What you want to do is look at your right hand and watch yourself picking the strings. Not only that, but you need to slow it down. That's the next best piece of advice I can give you, is slow it way down. If you're having trouble picking, there's probably a good chance that you're trying to play whatever you're playing too fast. And something really bad happens when you practice too fast. You're programming your brain to play something sloppy if you practice it too fast. When you practice slowly, you're like programming your brain to be able to play it fast. To be able to play fast, you gotta play slowly first. There's no other way about it, and you're gonna be making a really big mistake if you try to practice something too quickly. So, those are my 2 pieces of advice if you want to get better at picking with a flat pick. Watch your right hand with your eyes, straight up look at your right hand and watch carefully what you're doing, and then play really slowly. Richard Flinterman asks, how do you keep a healthy balance between practicing guitar and making music? That's a good question. I don't always do that. I'm not very good at maintaining that healthy balance. Oftentimes I'll just be practicing for days or even weeks on end, and I won't create any music at all. And sometimes I'm so focused on creating music that I never practice. You want to switch back between doing both of them, or even doing them at the exact same time. And what I would recommend is bringing some more intention into the equation. So if you set really concrete expectations for yourself, like, I want to learn this skill, and I'm going to spend this amount of time practicing this skill or these exercises so that I can get this, so I can do this better, instead of just picking up a guitar and playing randomly without any thought. If you really ask yourself, what do I want to learn? How am I going to go about learning it? That's what I would recommend trying to, the thoughts that you should have about practicing. And when it comes to making music, ask yourself, what do I want to write? What do I want to express? What sound or vibe do I want to go for? If you have lyrics to work with, that's a good place to start. But if you're just trying to write chord melodies and melody lines over rhythm, ask yourself, what do I want? When you bring intention into the equation, you can really, it'll just help a lot. It'll help a lot. It's really easy to just kind of have no intentions and just float around and play whatever, but all of the best music was written with intention, in my opinion. I think that someone had a thought and they intentionally said, I want to do this. So, yeah, I was kind of rambling there. I don't know if I actually answered your question, but think about what you want, create some concrete expectations for yourself, and then go from there. Squirrel asks, what kind of work do you do? That's a good question. I am mostly a guitar teacher. Most of what I do is give guitar lessons online, so through Skype or FaceTime or Google Hangout, and also in person. I also do the occasional guitar tracking gig where I'll work with recording artists and producers to get them guitar tracks for their music. I have a little bit of a home studio here where I can record guitar. I also am a photographer and videographer. It's been a little while since I've done some of that work, but I will take the occasional photo and video gig when those opportunities pop up. But yeah, I mostly teach guitar. That's pretty much what I'm up to. JP Barreras asks, how can I go full Quoth on the guitar? This is the best question of all the questions. Quoth is the main character from this amazing fantasy series called The King Killer Chronicle. And it's by this incredible author named Pat Rothfuss. If you like fantasy at all, these books are as good as it gets right now. There's one called The Name of the Wind. There's one called The Wise Man's Fear. And I highly recommend them. You should all definitely go read these books. But the main character is this amazing lute player. Lutist? Anyways, how can you go full Quoth on the guitar? Here's what you gotta do. You remember when he's in the woods after his troop got killed and he has nothing but his lute. He sits down and he's he figures out how to play the sound of like a leaf falling in the wind, or like a puddle, like a water droplet hitting a puddle or something. That's what you got to do if you want to go full Quoth status on the guitar, is take your guitar out into the woods and try your best to play the sounds of the things that you're hearing, but on the guitar. Kind of sounds crazy, but you should definitely go try it and see what happens. That's how you're going to go full Quoth. Alright, that's all the questions we have time for right now. Thank you so much for watching. Main takeaways from this, go check my album out if I'm gonna see you. And also, if you're an artist and you want to get your music in stores, I would highly recommend DistroKid. I had a really good experience uploading my album this last week, and you will too. So go check them out. There's a bunch of links in the description below. And yeah, that's about it. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. Peace out.